What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the Sportscast. It's me, Andy Grant. I've got Gary Judge with me from Across the Park podcast, and we're coming to you, the Bitter Blue. We're coming to you live again. Not live, actually. We're coming to you recorded from the workshop in Waterloo. It's on the corner of St John's Road and Liverpool Road.
Yeah, you got it.
Best roasting in the city, in my opinion. And not only that, don't forget, on Thursdays, they do From the Barbecue. It's 2 prime cuts, 3 sides, and a bottle of wine for 50 quid. So you can bring your bird, or like Gary said last week, can be your mate, your mum, your dad, your brother, sister, anyone. It's 50 quid a couple, only on Thursdays. That's 2 prime cuts, 3 sides, and a bottle of wine, 50 quid. We've just actually said that next week we're probably going to stop on after the pod and
No, what we said is we're going to order it before the pod. So the plates come out with, and we'll do
there's 3 small plates you can get for less than 16 quid, or we can go, I think we just jump in at the 50 quid. We can be the couple that does the 2 prime meats.
While we're doing the podcast, I'm not sure I'll be able to prime meats like that.
We'd maybe get the bottle of wine.
Oh,
we could drink the wine.
Nice, I like that.
And then 50 quid for the pair of us.
I'll have to get a taxi back to us.
It's alright. So there you go. Get
I can walk, actually. It's not far from mine.
The workshop in Waterloo. We've also got IGD. You get 25% off when you type in Andy IGD at checkout for all your sports gear. You got some belter stuff, and there'll be probably a promo of me looking like I'm doing a bit on the track, dropping in the next couple of weeks.
Looking like you're doing a bit.
Looking like it was all acting. All acting, so I didn't do anything. But even so, still go and give them a follow and get your discount code.
Definitely.
Right, we've got loads to cover this week. And I mean loads. And I want to start off, if it's all right, with the NFL, because I think, listen, what I want to say first and foremost is something really sad happened this week. It was when the Kansas City Chiefs were doing the celebration. There was a mass shooting. We heard this all too much in America. There's been 1 killed, 22 injured, and obviously really sad for all the families and everyone involved. But it just made me think, that is the most American thing ever. You put on the greatest sporting event in the world, the greatest halftime event, and
it gets just
it's financially the most lucrative advertisement slot. It's spoken about by everyone.
Everyone, though.
Everyone.
Yeah, for different reasons, but yeah,
and then a week later they have a mass shooting because of it. It's just unbelievably sad, innit, how that country is just so messed up when it comes to gun crime.
It's just mad as well, like, and I know you'll have listened to TalkSport and heard this kind of question or accusation. How on earth, when again the most coveted group of people in the whole world, the Kansas City Chiefs, and this week, the most covered, everyone's after seeing them, aren't they, wanting to be around them. How's someone being allowed to get so close to them with an assault rifle?
Is that what it was?
An assault rifle. They were saying like it was, one, it's rare for people even in America to be carrying them, but 2, to get that close to an event of that kind. They were close enough to be able to take the players out and the staff. So that's how.
Really, madness. But away from the sadness of the shooting, there was obviously the spectacle of it. I'll be honest, I didn't. Did you and your bird stay up much?
I stayed up. She bows out. I stayed up.
She's a fair weather fan.
I still feel like I've got jet lag. Like still done in from staying up till like 4:30 in the morning and getting off for work the next day.
I seen a meme and it said who won the Super Bowl, and then it was anyone who didn't watch it. Like that.
You know what? It was as good a game as you, apart from the first quarter and the first half.
Well, I'll be honest. First thing I done on was it Monday morning was I put on YouTube and watched the highlights. First thing I done.
Well, there wasn't much highlights in the first half.
Well, it was like a 15-minute highlight reel on YouTube, and it was pretty boring until like that. I thought, oh, this is going to go close.
Yeah, and it couldn't have got better when it got into overtime. And overtime is just a boss concept anyway. It's a bit like the silver goal silver goal rule that they didn't kind of use in footy.
They used like a season, didn't they?
Yeah, it was a golden goal. It was never
the silver goal. Liverpool win the European.
It was actually.
It was, and they binned it off again.
Yeah. But it was a little bit like the silver goal, but each team has an attack. I know you can't really do that in footy, but you could probably do it in rugby, where you each have a go at possession. But it's just such an interesting dynamic. And I think it always favours in American football when it goes into overtime. It favours the team that are used to being there. And I kind of got that thing about them, like, we own this. This is where we come to the fore. And the longer the game went on, the Kansas City Chiefs just looked stronger because they were in their territory, do you know what I mean?
Well, it was the guy Mahomes, wasn't it? Mahomes is it. He's got MVP and Super Bowl in the last 2 years, which is like pretty much unheard of, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's
that's kind of Brady, Tom Brady.
Well, he's catching up Brady, he's in his tracks now. That's 4 Super Bowls he's taken part in, I think.
But I don't think Brady done 2 on the bounce, did he?
No. Well,
Pretty much.
No one's done it since.
It's like 20, 30 years or something.
Yeah, it's like 30 odd years since anyone won 2 on the bounce.
And funny enough, we mentioned it last week. He was one of the players that were on that Netflix show.
Yeah,
you know, they looked at 4 quarterbacks,
and he was one of the ones who had like a different way of training, didn't he?
Yeah,
and he, you know, it was interesting. It always is the battle of the quarterbacks to some extent when it gets to that stage, and he's got the better arm in terms of being able to throw it further, but tactically at the start of the game, he got outdone a little bit. But yeah, it was really interesting. I thought it was a really good game. I was really close to going to bed after the first quarter though.
That's just the one I don't watch it the next day. Do you watch it, Musk? We've got our producer Musk in here as well. No, he's got a life like me as well. So we had the other thing which was interesting was Travis Kelce though was obviously Taylor Swift's fella. He bumped his coach. Did you see that? He like come and give him, but his coach is a lot older than him. He's about 6'4". And like, it wasn't quite a rugby tackle, but it was a real bit of a shove.
Do you know what it was? Do you know what happened there?
Did he give the ball away or something?
No. They didn't involve him in the play. So there was an opportunity to get him in. And the coach chose not to choose him. So he made this run, was not in the end zone, but he was in a great spot. They didn't choose to use him. And obviously then, when they're in possession and out of position, he switched the players over, don't he? He came off and was just went for the coach.
Because obviously,
you know, it's one of them. The quarterback ultimately has the decision, but the coach will tell the quarterback normally, I want you to go for this. But the plays need to be so convincing that
they don't tell all the players.
Exactly, because you need to be so bought into it. The opposition think you're getting it. Do you know what I mean? There's that much psychology that goes into it.
Yeah, if you knew you weren't actually going to get it,
you're not making it with the same conviction, are you?
Yeah.
So he wasn't happy that
he's come out and apologised, to be fair, since.
You know what though, and I think, you know, even the coach himself, like you want your players to be that invested in it, don't you? You want them to care.
Yeah, but lad, he's about, I don't know, 60 or 70, that coach.
I mean,
it was a bit of a...
It was aggressive, it was aggressive. I mean, he looked a bit taken back, didn't he? But
the best story, though, to come out of this whole Super Bowl was, there's a meme, and it said, it said, did anyone catch Taylor Swift getting the ick live? And basically, you don't know what the ick is?
No.
It's more like for women, like when a man does something, it gives them
the
ick.
Okay.
It's like, ugh. So basically, in the celebrations, he gets on the mic, doesn't he? And he starts going, Viva Las Vegas. Just, very Tyson Fury-esque, makes a complete fool of himself, in my opinion. And the camera goes to Taylor Swift, and she's going, oh, and it's just like, it was be the equivalent of, being at a family party and just making a tit yourself on a microphone or something.
Or the equivalent of like Taylor Swift trying to, kick a drop goal or something.
Yeah, at half-time, doing something. But it was, like, he was proper into, like, everyone. And it was just like, oh, mate,
it's proper Texan roots or whatever.
Yeah. He's singing Viva Las Vegas and that. Yeah, very, like Muscat, very Tyson Fury-esque. Yeah. And she doesn't look best pleased with it. So that what I thought was the highlight of the Super Bowl. One little more business-related story now, which will lead us into footy, but we'll cover footy at the end.
By the way, before we do into this business story, I don't know, you didn't watch the whole thing. I just badly want to get that, like, sort of bucket list stuff, and I think I mentioned it when we talked about it last time. Oh my God.
I would not be sober by the end of it.
Well, you know what? That's the thing, though. It goes on so long, and it's at a time, obviously, over there, it's at prime time. It's like whatever starts at 6 and finishes at 10 or whatever. The whole day would just be an absolute unbelievable day, wouldn't it? And the fact it goes on so long, you think that's almost the shame of a football match, isn't it? But it's over after 90 minutes. It's quite a short time. You've got that 15 minutes.
It's just that coming a match with me and Musk. Out all day.
No, I do, but you know what I mean? It's like the actual match itself. You've only really got 5 minutes at half time. So you're getting down, you're getting right back up again. You end up missing 10 minutes of the second half if you actually have a proper drink at half time. They do it properly, don't they?
We missed 20 minutes last
week.
They
do it properly, don't they?
Have you ever been on one of those night outs where you're almost pissed twice? You kind of bladdered and you kind of
and you slow down a bit,
and then you get pissed again. That'd be what it'd be like. You'd end up being pissed twice in the same day.
I think it'd be like, and you've had more of these than me. It'd be like a European game where you're running on.
Yeah, just adrenaline almost.
Because you've had 2 or 3 days on it. Yeah. By the time it gets to the day of the game,
you've got contacts in America. If you want to jack this up, then I will be there.
I'll try and aim for it next year.
So, as we'll come to no surprise to you, I'm going to make a kind of poor punt at this to try and be clever and sound business savvy. But here we go. So obviously the NFL's got its thing with Spurs as well, haven't they? The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They bring them over. So I've had a little bit of experience of this. When I went to watch Paddy the Baddy in the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas, I was paying $35 for a pint of Budweiser.
Oh my God.
Which was shocking. Yeah, so I know how inflated the prices are in America.
$35?
It was $35 a pint. To get a bowl of nachos in the Super Bowl was rumoured to be $60, okay? Now, when it comes to the UK, obviously they have certain NFL prices and certain things follow over, but obviously it's in the UK. And what's been happening is obviously Spurs are realising how the NFL do things and they're then copying to maybe bring them in to the Premier League. So I listened to the lad's called something Maguire. He's a business analyst. He's on Twitter. I follow him. Kieran Maguire, I think his name is. Really interesting guy. And he was on TalkSport today. How much would you say per punter, per game, your club spends?
Like an average that a fan spends at Everton, I'd probably say 15 quid.
15 quid.
Maybe
so the highest end is Spurs. The average punter spends...
In the stadium?
Yeah. 71 quid.
Oh my God.
So what the whole point of it is, clubs are trying to get fans in the stadium.
Oh yeah, and you know what?
Keep them later, you know, provide more refreshments, more things, to obviously
be more
to
efficient
get your
with
money,
it, yeah.
Which, listen, I can see for growing your business, and Tottenham are one of the most well-run businesses in the Premier League. I think only 45% of their income is going onto the wages, something it was. So I get it, but listen, me and Muscu go to the game every week together. We are in the ground a minute before kick-off. We have a pint at half-time, and then we're gone again. I mean, to be fair, we drink in the cop bar, which is part of the club, I guess. But you're drinking in the pubs around the area, aren't you?
Same, yeah.
So Tottenham are up there at £71 per punter. Everton, you were close, 19 quid.
I was trying to think about what we spend, but then thinking about, you know, you got people who bring the kids, maybe spend, so it's around 15, 20. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
So that's one thing that I think clubs
are. What are you 30 quid or something?
51 Liverpool are.
Must be buying scarves in the match as well.
Yeah, well, someone is, not me. But some people are buying
flags in the match as well.
Yeah, and t-shirts. But I think it's great for Liverpool, though, that, I mean, it's better for Everton that it's so low that people aren't giving the money to the club. I know on one hand you want our club to be bigger and better, so you want them making more money to then.
So I
mean, that's probably one of the reasons why your club's in such financial dire.
Exactly. Yeah,
people are only spending fucking 18 quid.
They're all going the hot walk instead, or the Winslow.
That is the argument, though, because you look at Tottenham. Tottenham are the most efficient, well-run business in that sense.
The one thing I'd say about Tottenham as well, and you've been to Tottenham, the pubs around there are pretty limited, and if they are, it's
maybe
like,
that's one of the reasons as well. Yeah,
it's moody around there.
I just think that's one thing. I think that NFL will probably have an impact now on.
Do you know what? Like, I'm genuinely looking forward to that with the new stadium, because like, having been to Tottenham, it's a boss experience. Being to even Wembley, the good thing about Wembley is all like, it's like a food market downstairs, isn't it? You've got different stalls you can eat and all that, and I'm looking forward to that. That's the one bit I'm looking forward to, and I wouldn't mind paying extra money for, because
if you want to get the experience.
If I, like, for instance, you'll be the same maybe with Albert, I won't necessarily go to the pub if I bring Arabella or Oliver the match. I'll go in the grounds earlier, and we'll kind of go up to the seat and all that. And then sometimes your dad will go, do you want to go down and have a pint downstairs? And I don't mind it. It's just a bit like scummy, innit? You know, just...
Oh, there's certain parts of the ground, the cop, it's not that great, but the concourse and the main stand is brilliant.
Yeah.
Right, we've got some snooker to touch on, darts, athletics, bit of golf, UFC, boxing, tennis, and again we'll finish off with footy, so we'll rattle through some of these stories. Right, in snooker, the Saudi Arabia effect again has got its claws into snooker, so it's going to stage its first ranking snooker event later on this year. It's the inaugural Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters, boasting a prize fund of more than 2 million quid. Such as the 2 million quid, in terms of prize money, it's behind only the World Snooker Tour. So it's basically becoming the fourth major
World Championship
alongside the Triple Crown. So the way they talk about the Triple Crown, who's won this, it's now going to be the quadruple crown, because Saudi have said we want a bit of it. Well,
it's the prize money, isn't it, really? So of course you've got to put it up there. And the players naturally will value it up there because of how much money they can...
That's an interesting one, actually, though. So just because then, so you've got the Triple Crown and all its prestige, purely you're saying just because it's 2 million quid, it's going to have the quadruple.
It's got to be, hasn't it? Because the players will value it like that. Like, so
if they said then, right,
it's the whole legacy question, isn't it? What do you value more, your money, or, you know, your bank account?
What if they said, right, you get 5 million quid if we're going to do a snooker tournament in Antarctica? Would it become then the 5th crown or something?
I've got no doubt that Ronnie will be right up for that.
Well, that's going on later on this year, and it's a 10-year deal as well, so it's not going anywhere. So Was it a Mystic Mac again for us where we said...
Yeah. We talking about Snooker, weren't we? And I just said I feel like it needs an injection of something else and a little bit of life breathes into it, and it'd be interesting to see.
Stay tuned into the end of the pod where Gary's giving us the lottery numbers for this week as well.
I wish. Just don't follow the bet.
Yes.
No.
Let's not talk about it.
Get it right.
So yeah, you did speak about it the other week, and they've got the close in.
Let's hope again that they can, because now they've got that opportunity. Let's hope they can have a bit of influence with it and go, well, like, our quirky rule is going to be X. So, do you know what I mean? And obviously they can't change the rules of the sport, but just having a bit of a different atmosphere around the place.
They're
and
throwing a £2 million prize fund for the next 10 years. They're going to be doing everything they can, aren't they, to it? You got the darts. Obviously, we're recording this on Thursday. Luke Little will be playing tonight. So
Price.
Yeah, big game. That we won't be able to say what's happened, but he did just he continued his red hot form. He's now won. It was 12. Was it? Sorry, it was 8 wins on the spin. Although he did get beat by. It was a bit of a shock defeat. The guy beat him was Sangsky from Poland, and I think he's ranked 103. Bit of a shock defeat for him. But before that, he was on fire, and he's now qualified for his first European qualifier.
Bit of a funny story about that event that took place. It took place at Wigan Robin Park. Well, hopefully no one who's watching this works in Wigan Robin Park, but I've got some experience at the venue, and it's not the best. When I seen a few of the darts players who I follow post on Sunday night, looking forward to going to Wigan tomorrow, and I seen one of them say Wigan Robin Park, I thought it's a terrible venue for.
Really?
And then, interesting enough, Gerwin Price posted on the Monday night, basically saying that was a shambles.
Really?
He went, I've never been to a place that looked more like an amateur darts venue than that, and it was meant to be a professional, world level. And I actually replied to him. I replied to him. Yeah, he did.
Did he?
I replied to him and I said, mate, I can't believe they hosted that in Wigan Robin Park. I don't know if they'd done it before, but it's nowhere near the level you'd expect for players like you. And he went, cheers, mate, I appreciate the support. It was not. I wasn't impressed.
Darts friends
going. But yeah, back to that. The Premier League. I was talking to someone about the Premier League today, and obviously I have gone on about it. I think it's great. I think it's a brilliant thing for the sport. Definitely something that I think Snooker could take something from. Short, sharp games, happening on a more regular basis, getting it out to a wider audience. But I think with the Premier League, what you notice is it's a short format, so it's just first to six. So if you slow out the blocks, you can quickly find yourself beaten before you know it. But what I've noticed, and this is maybe a little bit of a tip for people who are maybe watching it and wanting to have a quiz on, a little bit of interest, keep an eye out for the players who go 2 or 3 legs down, because the bookies, because they use an algorithm, you can find that like a player like Michael Smith, who can string together 4, 5, 6 legs on a spin with no dramas.
Get back into it.
He's like 6-1 in play, and you're like, what?
Yeah. Again, I like as well.
There's major value with it.
I like as well. It's all in the one night, isn't it? As well.
Yeah, it's done in one. It's done in 2 or 3 hours.
So on the Thursday, obviously, which you be maybe watching this, obviously Friday, you may look back at the results on the Thursday. On the first round of Premier League, you had Littler, who got to the semis and was beat again, wasn't he, by Smith,
Michael Smith, yeah.
In the second round of Premier League, he got to the final and was beaten by Van Gerwen. So this is his 3rd time lucky. So how's he going to do tonight? I don't know, but
Van Gerwen's just on fire at the moment. He didn't play at that event. He chose not to play at the Wigan Robin Park one.
Yeah. He weren't going for
Wigan. He weren't going to Wigan, no. He
maybe been to Wigan before and thought
he knew the score, yeah.
Didn't
fancy his P-Wach.
Mate, some sad news in athletics. So the world marathon record holder and the London Marathon winner, Kelvin Kiptum, has died aged 24. Him and his coach were killed in a traffic accident, which is just mad, really. I don't know about you, but you kind of put sometimes, like,
I know,
sportsmen and athletes as if they're
invincible.
Yeah. Like, you don't expect them ever to get sick and then to get, like, proper...
It's like it's almost like your family, isn't it? You're like, that's not going to happen to someone I know. And you're right.
Someone who's just revered, and something like a car accident, you just think... Wow,
it's freak, isn't it?
It's just so sad. And, his talent, he was saying, he's once in a generation. I mean, anyone who's got a marathon world record holder, imagine that. But just, unbelievably sad for the running world. Some, I'm going to say less serious, but
it is to people, including my dad.
But to some people,
my dad runs does the park run every week.
So this next one is maybe a little bit less serious. I just think it's the way the world's
going.
One
of them's hasn't he?
Park run, for anyone who does park run, it's a 5k run you can do up and down the country, free to
World. Anywhere in the
now.
world, yeah. World.
It's free to do. You have to just register online. You turn up. You run 5k. Great. I personally, like to do it so you can get a time and you can kind of see how you're doing. Maybe get a better time. Yeah, you can try and beat your mates and your categories. The two bits of, let's say, bad press, if you like, parkrun I've had. Well, they've removed now your timings, so you can't log a time and see how you're doing because they didn't want it to come across as too competitive. They wanted to say, look, it's not about racing and coming first, it's about taking part. It's about that community element. So they've now took away the thing for a time, which I think will frustrate a lot of people because, it's going down that kind of world of everyone can win and it doesn't matter if you win or lose. Which I think that's bullshit because there are winners and losers in life. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what as well? Like I said, my dad's one of the runners who runs in the Crosby one every week without fail. And literally he's sitting there refreshing the page, looking for his official time. And look, my dad's in his 60s, but he enjoys his running. But equally, he'll say, I seen such and such there today. It was great to see blah, blah, blah. I went past to give him a pat on the back. It's a good community. It's not like that. Like, people don't storm past people and kick them on the way past and go, get out my way. Do you know what I mean? It's not like that competitive. It's a nice...
I don't understand the reason at all. And it's been then hit with a second controversy because, and maybe this was linked to it, there are some people who are transgender who have been a man are then transferring to be a woman. Is that what you say, transferring or... transitioning, not a transfer
transfer window.
Transfer window. It's you're transitioning to, I shouldn't laugh because this is a serious thing to some people, but there've been some men who are transitioning to be women who are turning up at park runs and smoking everyone, and they've broke all the women's records. No, but they broke the women's records in park runs. So you've got Karen, who's smoking it for in over 60s category, and then Dave's just got his bits chopped off, and now he's now smoking everyone.
Yeah, that's why my dad doesn't like him.
His dad's getting but he's not transitioned. He's a genuinely
dad's sucking them in. Yeah, he runs. No, jokes aside, it's sad that it's that type of thing sad. Has caused, as you say, maybe you could suggest that complaint has caused them to go, well, listen, let's just make it simple then and swerve all the categories and stuff like that. Innit?
As if you're that arsed, do you know what I mean? They go and turn up and start smoking people just because you've transitioned.
Do you know what? Again, it's society, innit? Like, people just look for a chance of...
madness. In the F1, I mentioned it last week, not much to say in it, but the F1, the Red Bull team wanted the old... what's his first name? Horner? Christian Horner. They wanted his kind of complaint dealt with internally and dealt quickly, and it's not happened. It's still rolling into kind of the
Sounds
weeks now.
Sounds familiar, doesn't it?
What's that?
Someone with power not getting dealt with in a timely manner.
There you go. You know more about it than me with the old Everton crisis, which we'll come on to later. So that's still rumbling on. In the UFC this weekend, a massive card with my mate Volkanovski.
My mate.
Lad, have you not seen the selfie?
I've seen it.
He's my mate.
You hasn't seen it?
So he's fighting this weekend against Tapora. It wasn't so long ago we were talking about Paddy the Baddy and Tapora potentially, going to be matching up. Obviously, Paddy and Tapora now aren't in the same weight, but they had that beef going back and forth. And I think Paddy refers to him as Gel Boy because he threw like a hand sanitizer or something. But Tapora, he's ranked third and he's coming up against the champ Volkanovski. Volkanovski's only been beat twice, I think, since 2013, and that both come against I can never say his name, Makhachev.
Yeah,
Islam Makhachev. I was obviously in a different weight, and he come on to that fight last minute when he wasn't in a proper fight camp. I think someone dropped out, wasn't it? And then he jumped in, took the fight, and got beat again. But in this weight division, he's unbeaten for like nearly 10 years, and he's obviously coming up against a young, hungry Tapora. It's going to be a massive event this weekend, a co-main event with Whittaker and Costa. I watched the kind of build-up. I'll be honest, didn't look at any other of the card, even the Costa fight and Whittaker. I was just watching it all about Tapora and Volkanovski, and it's going to be a boss fight, like really, really good fight. And obviously, I want Volkanovski to win because we're bros. Yeah. But I'm just a bit wary. This Tapora's he just looks like an angry little bastard.
He looks fresh,
and he looks young. He looks, But listen, Volkanovski's, like I say, been at the top of this game now for a long time.
How old is he now?
It's going to be a fascinating fight. I think he's about 34, It's
still no age, really, is it? Given, 34 still.
But yeah, it's going to be a massive fight. Like I say, I think this supporters 14 fights, 14 wins against Volkanovski's been at the top for 8-10 years. So yeah, that's going to be my watch. Again, I'm not as...
You staying up?
Nah. Not as hardcore to stay up for it, but Sunday
you
morning...
my watch in the morning.
Sunday morning, I'll be on.
Sound like
watching.
someone who likes footy a little bit. I'll be watching on Match of the Day.
No. Lad, I'm not. There's not a lot that can get me. Do you know who would get me up for it? McGregor.
Yeah.
McGregor and Mayweather, I stayed up for that.
Got a funny story about that. Dead briefly, we watched it and I was in Portugal at the time, and I was in Portugal with Jen, and we just had Arabella at the time, just my daughter. So obviously, how long ago was that now? 6 years ago?
2016 or something, maybe?
It was about 6 years ago, weren't it? Ish. No, I don't think
longer,
it was.
Maybe?
Yeah, maybe, because Arabella wasn't only been like 2 or 3. Anyway, we were in Portugal, and a few of our mates were also in Portugal as well, so we met in Vila Moura, watched it in the kind of, in the port. And it got obviously really late, so Jen got off with the girls and the kids. The lads stayed out and watched it. The lads just started dwindling down. It ends up just me and one of my close mates.
What, as in like going to sleep type thing?
You're like falling asleep, I'm getting off. Like it was one of them with them cards. It says it's advertised as 3, isn't it? Just ends up being 5. Anyway, look, most people got off, so it ends up with me and one of my mates. Fight finishes, no taxis anywhere. It's like, and we were staying
in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, we were staying about 5 miles away, and I had like these like boat shoes on, boating shoes. Mate had similar ones on, and I was in decent nick at the time. I'm just gonna run it. Started running, so my mate ran with me. Got about a mile in, and he stopped and started throwing up on the floor. So I kind of ran ahead, ran back, and I kind of dragged him. Come on, let's go. Anyway, ran all the way home. Felt great after it because it like sweated a lot of the air out and stuff. Anyway, you know, we gotta go to bed and what have you. Next morning, gets up and my mate's missus is fuming. What happened? He walked in, threw up all over the bed. Oh. He was sweating. Got in the bed, sweating. And he didn't stop sweating, so the bed's covered in sweat and sick. But yeah,
that's what a McGregor Mayweather fight does to you. It inspires
you
to run 5
I was like that.
Thought I was all night session.
My shoes are never the same after it as well.
Had your feet not killing the next day after those running home in boat
shoes? I was a bit drunk, so I had blisters on my feet. But then, you know, like the heels of the shoes are not really made for running, so I just had like a big, because the way I run, the outside of my heel kind of hits the floor a lot, so I had a big like dint in the back of my heels.
I'll be waking up watching it the next day. In tennis as well, talking about them again, the Saudis, it's a great one. So I looked into this a little bit. Pretty interesting if you're a tennis fan and potentially a bit of a shake-up. What the big tournaments are trying to do, i.e. the Australian Open, the French Open, Wimbledon and the US Open, they're trying to come together to get a bit of a stronger hold on basically the calendar year.
Yeah.
And, you know, they don't want players moaning, saying that the kind of, you know, the tournaments...
Tired from one major to the next.
Not so much even the major to the next, but, you know, some of the warm-up tournaments that they need to get certain points in to make the majors, and there's a bit of a congested calendar, and then there's a bit of in-house fighting on, I guess, monies to do with it, and not everyone is singing off the same song sheet, essentially. And what's happening now is the Saudis are coming in and saying, we'll
sort it.
We're going to do an event that's going to rival, you know, your Wimbledons, your Australian Opens. So they've got one at the moment. It's called the Six King Slam. So the Six King Slam is going to take place in October. I think it's got the top 5 in it, playing in it already. I think there's only one of them maybe who's won a big tournament. And it's got people worrying because all the other big opens can't get the, you know, the ducks in a row and can't come together and act as a bit of a union really and say, look, if they could basically come together as one, it'd be a lot better. But because they can't agree on nothing, it's all a bit fractured. The players don't know what's happening. And now, to add insult to injury, the Saudis have come in and said, well, you know what? While you're squabbling and fighting, we're going to put our own little tournament on. It's going to be in October. And all the other tournaments, you can pick and choose if you want to play in them or come play in ours.
For well more money.
So you're going to potentially get some players who maybe would ordinarily in October, say, play in, I don't know, like a
Cincinnati Open or whatever. Yeah.
And now they probably end up going and playing the Six King Slam.
And to be clear, is there no ATP points available? It's just literally...
I don't know about that.
I'd imagine there wouldn't be.
There's either ATP points or $10 million. Yeah. So I don't know, but there's going to be a big bag of money. I don't know whether any ATP points, but But it's just too
But
big.
as you say though, there's a lot, and there's a bit of there's always been that thing around the tennis rankings where basically if you play in every single tour event and you just get past the first couple of rounds, you'll end up with more ATP points than most of the top players who do well in the, in the Grand Slam events.
Yeah.
Just because you've played, just you know what I mean? Almost the accumulation of points, and it's sad, isn't it? It's a bit like just taking part means that you're gonna.
Yeah, you're just there. But do you know what? We're saying that you've just nailed it there with the ATP point situation. You know what the Saudis have done, and we listen. We take the piss and we laugh at them just by how much money they're throwing around.
Oh, it's great.
But being the disruptors that they're being, you know what they're doing? They're shining a light out other sport federations are failing.
Yeah,
they've shone a light on how boxing have failed for so long to make the big fights happen. They've shone a light on. Snooker, now you could arguably say how it's not been fun enough. They're going to try and do something with that. They've shone a light on golf, and they've set the. They've
made PGA up their game,
they've set the cat amongst the pigeons there, and now they're doing it with the darts. Now they're doing another sign it with tennis, and I think what they've done is they've just made maybe players of that sport say, you know what, I'm moaning all the time about the congestion schedule, about the money, about the points, the ranking systems, whatever. And then Saudi,
they've addressed the power balance as the point, isn't he? And they've put probably the ball, so to obviously pardon the pun, they put the ball back in the player's court to say, you've got a choice here. We're giving you a choice now. You're not at the mercy of the ATP or PGA or whoever it is, because we're going to give you another event that you can go on. And then, as you say, they've then got a choice, haven't they, the governing bodies?
I don't think it'll stay with this kind of power play. I don't think it'll stay kind of this way. But
but
down the line, something a bit more even maybe will kind of come about. But listen, I think it's definitely a good thing for now.
I do. I like it. I really do like it.
One thing it's not a good thing for, you'll like how I've done this, is football. I don't think it's a good thing in football. But also, what else isn't good is Misfits boxing. I don't think it's any good. I remember for a while people were saying this YouTube boxing thing, it's going to be great for the sport, amazing. I don't think it brings across any fans. I personally don't
like that it's now called Misfits boxing, and it's seen as its own little governing body. It's got its own little, it's like WWE. I've said that. I think the sooner we see it as WWE, the better.
Yeah,
and I think call it Misfits boxing, put it in its own category, have their own events. I think the last two have kind of gone under the radar and have been a little bit low key because it's been called Misfits boxing. People who are in it are saying we're part of Misfits boxing. I'm nowhere near as, even though I was one of the people saying, look, it's good to raise the profile of boxing. I was getting to the point where like this is not right that they're sitting in the same box.
No, I think it was putting boxing in the gutter, and now thankfully they've got their own thing, Misfits, and that's fine. Leave the proper boxing to the proper boxers. One thing that is not great, if it does happen, he's come out this week and said it's not, but the rumours are definitely there, and he has been approached by Misfits, is Wayne Rooney. Has been approached by Misfits to fight. This is like,
why? Like,
do you know Liverpool as a city, right? We're known for some of the greatest sportsmen and women, right, to come from this city. Arguably, you could say the two greatest footballers are arguably Scousers, Steven Gerrard and Wayne Rooney. Gerrard sold his soul to the Saudis, and Wayne Rooney's going to start boxing the Misfits.
The only one who's still walking around with any integrity is Carragher. Because he's went, you know what, I don't need to do that. I'm just going to go on Sky, enjoy myself, enjoy my life. And great. And please, long that may continue, because, I mean, Stevie, I think a lot of people have lost a little bit of love for Stevie from what he's done. And now Wayne, the best striker England have ever had, in my opinion. I think he's arguably the greatest player ever. I love Rooney to bits. I'm praying he doesn't go down this Misfits route. What's he got to gain? And being just again, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here. He's back. He's put himself in this. I don't know. You know what there is. There's
nothing.
Not in great shape. He can lose a bit of weight, can't he? And get himself back. You know what? He's probably
I'll give him an incentive.
He's probably one of them people who's missing like the whole athletic, the buzz of
Gary,
being in the.
Get him to come on a 5k and run with a one-legged man. There's an incentive. Try and beat me for a race. That's a better incentive than going and doing Misfits
because
boxing.
He wouldn't do that. He wouldn't win, was he?
Give something to train for. Get fit for.
Okay, yeah.
There you go. Anyone who wants to go down Misfits, there you go, Wayne. Come and have a run with me. Please, if he ever does see this, please don't go down that route. He's the greatest striker ever. I'm guessing he's got all the money in the world. He's got such such an account of of who he is in the English game. I'd hate for young kids to grow up and then, you know, they go, oh, who was the greatest, you know, player to ever come from Liverpool? I arguably think him and Gerrard are on a par, by the way.
Just to go back to it then, and again, you may not think this or whatever. Do you think that him going to America though in the first place was part of that as well? Do you think that was
part of what?
You're saying, like, you know, I'm not saying it's on par with Misfits and stuff, but you're saying Gerrard's gone to Saudi. Wayne went to America probably at the same point when America was coming up, like Saudi was. Was that the same move?
What, as in joining Misfits?
No, forget about Misfits a second.
Right,
going back to the whole point around, you know, Gerrard's gone to Saudi. Wayne arguably went to America at the point when the...
No, I just think the Saudi with the money thing and all that. Listen, you can go to the MLS because it's a different thing maybe for your family. It's like there are a few reasons where you can say to people, you know what?
His family didn't go though.
To America?
Didn't really go over there, no.
Who's the Rooney's?
Family stayed.
They did for a bit.
Yeah. They didn't like uproot, go to school and stuff.
They went and tried it, and it was a new opportunity for them. Fair play, and there's a few players who've done it. Look, Messi's done it. You know,
Ronaldo's done it in Saudi though.
Mate,
Ronaldo was there before Gerrard.
The Saudi thing, mate, is you can't compare it to the MLS. You can't. It's money. It's pure greed. Come on.
There was never a chance, right? And let's just bear with me. There was never a chance of any MLS teams ever being in the Champions League. There's now, because of money, call it what you want, there's now a genuine chance that one or more of the Saudi teams will be part of the new Champions League just because of that.
I don't think that'll happen.
You don't? Okay, we'll see.
But my point being is, listen, I love Gerrard. He'll always be, you know, my second favourite Liverpool player. But come on, mate, there are, I think, diehard Liverpool fans have lost a bit of respect for Gerrard. And I get that. Look, there's everyone's got it. And look, I'm an Evertonian. You know, Gerrard's not top of my list in terms of. Look, I've got a lot of respect for him, what he's done, and certainly as a Scouser, what a player. By the way, if he comes out and says,
I think
I'm going here for the money, then I'll take all that back. If he says, look, I've gone here purely for the money, then fine.
And I know we've had this around Jordan Henderson as well, but it's not the same thing. Why does he have to come out and say why I'm doing it? Like,
because he's just lying otherwise, isn't he?
But all right, let me flip it then. You do speaking gigs. That you know, you're a motivational speaker. Someone asks you to come and work for them. I know you said, like, we've talked about this before. If you got asked to do something for a company that maybe you didn't agree with their values, but they paid you well more, would you feel the need to come out on social media and go, I'm going to there, but I'm going there because they're paying me more money?
No, because no one's asked about me. I'm not in the public eye. But if someone said to me, can I land over a pint?
Would you feel there? How do you know he's not doing it over a pint? But my point is, you're saying that Gerrard should come out and go, I'm doing this for the money.
I'm not saying he should come out and say it. I'm saying don't try and lie to people.
Is he lying to people?
When he's saying over there he's going to better his career or whatever, like in managing career.
Is he? I don't know if I've heard him say that. But listen, I'm trying to play devil's advocate here because we've obviously
the point
had
is,
it with Henderson.
I would hate it if Rooney goes to the Misfits.
Oh no, listen, there's no arguments there. I think that's just mad.
He's the two greatest Scottish footballers. I've just kind of put the name in the dirt, I think, if that happens.
I think the one thing is Rooney's a very accomplished boxer. He falls in the ABAs and stuff. He's no mug. I think he could be in half shape and just.
But you know what I mean? Though, do you imagine that depressing conversation where in 20 years time, you got a kid coming up to you and you're saying who's the greatest player you've ever seen, and you go Wayne Rooney. Was he the one that had a fight with KSI? Do you imagine that? What a depressing conversation.
Is he the one that got knocked out by Jake Paul?
Oh. What a depressing conversation that'd be. Hey, so I hope he's come out and said that he's been approached by them and he's not going to do it, but
doesn't need to do it, does he? For no reason whatsoever. There's a good reason for him to do it.
So if he needs some purpose, come and have a run with me, but don't do Misfits, please, Wayne.
Just trying to
There's no real lad I've thought about.
No. I'm trying to. I wonder why he didn't go skiing last week. Is it because he's starting to train for Misfits? All his family went skiing last week. Certainly his two brother-in-laws.
Maybe he can't ski.
He can definitely ski.
Do you know Wayne Rooney can ski?
As if Wayne Rooney can't ski. Saying that though, he may not.
Think about it.
He may not have been able to. Yeah, it's a good point actually. Maybe just ate it. Trying to come up with a vicious rumour there. He's getting. If
anyone's got a photo of Wayne Rooney skiing, send it into the Lego podcast. Right. on to football. We won't talk too much about it because I can't actually see it happening for a long time. But there was a vicious rumour that started last Friday about this blue card thing.
More than a rumour, isn't it?
Well, it's more than a rumour. It's getting put into the game.
Again? What are they called again? Must be that body, the refereeing body that come up with all these like. No, it's not them. It's this federation of like. It's
they're trialing it somewhere.
They're
trialing it somewhere. The idea of blue cards, and it basically broke on the Friday, so people have had a week to digest it now. So we won't go on about it too much, but essentially, I think a bit of a nonsense idea. All it needs is referees to do the job a bit more with the yellow card. If referees done the job more with the yellow card and said, if you come near me and start gobbing off, you're getting a yellow. That's it.
A rugby approach, yeah.
That would
you know
work.
what? The one thing I'll say, again, and I'm not just saying this just to make it interesting and argue with you or whatever, but people go on about, they need to behave like rugby referees. Well, maybe just give them an opportunity to apply some of the same punishments that referees in rugby can do. Is there not an argument to say the reason why maybe they don't get such jib at times? And it's not the only, I think there's a culture thing as well. Is there an argument to say that the players think, be arse getting a sin bin? Just not going to say nothing. So I'm not saying, I think it's a bit of an attempt, a bit like the time wasting thing that went on at the start of the season, then got jibs, which I think was pathetic. But I think it's an attempt to go, well, let's try and address the disrespect to referees by giving them a bit more power.
But lad, I think that though is just proven that they've got no respect, that they're having to say, look, you can't give yellow cards out properly, so here's another tool for your army to try and use that instead.
I disagree, because if you give someone a red card in a match, which is your only real power, you've got a yellow card's nothing, let's be honest. Some players in footy become experts at getting a yellow card and then just not doing nothing else. So they can do what they want, and then once they got a yellow, they're like, all right, I'll just toe the line now. I think referee uses a red card, they get accused of ruining the game if they've not give it for the right reason.
You know what? I would say, I would like to see, me personally, I would like to see stronger referees, right, who demand more respect. And at the start of the game, they have the briefing with the two managers and the two captains, and he say, look lads, I'm taking a different approach today.
Different approach, as if they're going to get away with that. Well, I'm having a different approach.
Well, do you know what though? They will if they all stick together and they all start to.
Oh no!
And if it happens week after week after week,
I agree with that.
Do you know what I mean? Halfway through the season, it would only take, not even halfway, it only take it only takes 6 match days or something, right, for all the refs to go, I'm having none of this. You speak to me in a disrespectful way, I want to book you. No warnings, no nothing. You're getting a booking. And it might start happening. They're getting booked. Lad, it would soon stop.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And I think it needs some strong action. And I don't think, with respect, the referees have got that power. They need, again, the sports of the PGMOL, Howard Webb or whatever. Howard Webb was a strong referee. IFAB, that's it, yeah. They're the ones who kind of come up with the notions of the rules, and then the federation decide.
The idea of having a yellow card, a red card, right, it sounds a bit to me, when you were a kid and you used to get grounded, and you'd say, right, you're grounded for a week, and then you go, oh no, mum and dad, I'm sorry. Okay, right, well, if you be good now, you're only grounded for a night.
Same thing happens.
The same thing, isn't it?
Happens in our house, to be honest.
There you go. I just think the referee needs to be more, he needs to be more stronger when it comes to a yellow. And he just says, you know what, you speak to me again. It'd be like where you go, your kids over there.
I don't disagree with it, but I'm also not completely against it. I'm against it for the reasons that I think it could potentially ruin the game. And I actually, for a change, agree with the stance and the opinion that Paul Mason has on it, where he just said, look, all that was happening is people would just waste time for 5 minutes. They'd be kicking the ball out, they'd be doing whatever they could just to run that clock down. And again, you're taking minutes away from the entertainment, because all they'd be doing is, how do we get through these next 5-10 minutes whilst we've got a man down?
You'd also see when a player goes off off the pitch for a couple of minutes and he's waiting to come back on. Imagine if you had 3 or 4 players and they're all on different 10-minute timers.
Oh yeah, it'd be chocker, wouldn't it?
Fuck that, mate. It's bad enough with VAR.
We have sin bins in our league.
How much level you got sin bins, yeah?
And how do you find it? Does it?
It hasn't changed that much.
Fair enough, and that's you know what, and that's a good example. They didn't trial VAR enough, did they? They couldn't, because it's a technology thing. But I think in that case they could trial it. They could trial it at different levels without it becoming.
But I just think they need stronger refs.
Oh no, and I don't think it takes that away. I agree, but yeah.
Interesting one. We keep on touching on this a little bit, but we both obviously aren't experts in it. This whole idea of clubs, of businesses owning a few clubs and doing business within FC Dallas and Benfica have announced a youth partnership deal, which is essentially just going to be a conveyor belt into Europe for some American players. So that to me sounds a bit innocent in a sense of like, okay, I mean, given opportunities from American players coming to Europe and play at a young, at a youth level. But then it just stinks of these players are going to come through and then they're going to be linked to 3 or 4 other clubs.
Honestly,
and
mate,
it's going to happen to what Man City have done.
I honestly think you're so naive when it comes to this, honestly, I really do. I know you're saying we're not experts in it.
I also know why you're saying like this.
I've worked in football for a long time. No, forget about Everton. I've worked in football for a long time to know that, and this includes football clubs, working with agents, these relationships go on day to day. Like directors of football, no other directors of football, they got an agreement to say, you get a player, we're at this level, you're at that level, we'll give you players on loan. You see it constantly.
I'm not naive enough to think that, but what I think though is, yeah, I get that. Listen, it's mates on mates.
It is strategic, no?
Of course.
Strategic. But there's money that changes hands all the time.
I get that, and I'm not stupid. I get that. But this though, by making it like a legal business thing, it's then getting away the financial fair play aspects of the game. So, for example, my next point is the Premier League.
Name another industry that doesn't do that.
Okay, but if we're going to start talking about your club, which we're going to do next, in the sense of financial fair play, you potentially getting docked and stuff like that, it's all because of things that happen in Cloak and Dagger, blah, 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 things happen and things aren't being run properly.
Again, name another industry, it doesn't happen. Every industry in the world, every sector has these deals behind the scenes to get round, whether it's tax or, corporation stuff.
So when Everton then, let's say Everton get relegated, all we can blame then, right, is your club not being Cloak and Dagger enough.
What do you mean?
But you've just said everyone does it in every industry. You've not done it properly and got relegated. So it's your own fault then, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there'll be no moan into the Premier League then. It's because your club didn't do it properly. Because you've just said everyone does it in every industry.
We're the most culpable party in the whole thing, yeah? I've not said for a second that Everton as a football club have operated perfectly. What I've said is, and I go back to the same thing with other sectors, if other sectors and other industries starts exposing certain practices that go on, all you get is people going, well, not as bad as them, are we? We might be bad, but we're not as bad as them. That doesn't mean to say that anyone in those businesses have operated perfectly. What it says is, if you're going to start pointing the finger at us, don't dare do it at us and not point it at them. That's it's the hypocrisy and the lack of fair treatment and equal treatment that we've got a problem with. It's not.
Looking at this though from a non-business kind of naive mind, maybe there was a vote this week and the Premier League teams voted on whether it should be allowed business to be done via teams who are owned under the same umbrella. It was voted against ultimately, but the few clubs that did vote for it to happen were Man City and Everton, who happen to be owned by companies that own a number of different clubs.
We're not owned by them, but we've got obviously there's an
investor's interest in them.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting how the clubs who are ran by those umbrella companies all voted for it, but they unfortunately didn't win. Should we stick on Everton for a minute then?
Go on.
So, a bit of bad news here, and I know I slag you off for calling you bitter and horrible, but you're not as bad as this one fan who's just been given a £500 fine and a 3-year ban for Heysel shouts and racist abuse to Mo Salah. Good. Which you don't hear much about it, do you? People actually getting done for it, but it was good to see.
Well, you know what? Interesting you say that. We had the last home game we had, I brought me lad to it, and we got there, and there was all these like yellow stickers, and people who are watching this who are Blues might have seen this themselves. Yellow stickers on people's seats, and it was basically saying, you've been seen or heard using, I can't remember the words, it was something like discriminatory or whatever language. This is your last warning.
Wow.
It wasn't on my seat, thankfully. But the last game before that was a cup match.
If I was there, I would have put one on your seat.
The last game before that was a cup match, so everyone was going, but I wasn't here, so does that mean that? But we don't know whether it was the previous game. But it was funny because some of the people whose seat it was on, it was like, yeah, you've nailed it. He's like, he is like bad for it, not for the stuff you're talking about, but saying things that are a bit below the belt and like always getting up and shouting stuff. But it's definitely been something that the club have made a conscious effort, I think, to stamp out and to try and identify people. And again, in this instance, particularly when it's so close to home and your rivals and stuff.
No, it's good to see that he actually, it's going to start stopping people from acting like that. On to the actual stuff on the pitch. Everton winless in the last 7, coming up against a Palace side who aren't doing great themselves. There's rumour that Roy Hodgson took ill today. He was didn't take part in the press conference.
Well, I think
he's ill or he's either getting sacked.
Fabrizio Romano tweeted, didn't he, about an hour ago to say that his name again, the former Frankfurt and Wolfsburg coach is imminently taken over, which is terrible news for us as the game.
Well, I was going to ask, that was one of my questions, is Hodgson potentially getting the sack a good or a bad thing for Everton? Because, you know...
it's a bad thing, there's no two ways about it. I think they're only on one course with Hodgson and without Eze and Elise. I think with the new coach and, again, the records and the style of play he had at Wolfsburg and Frankfurt and the, you know, the progress he made with those two clubs was remarkable. It'd be a brilliant coup for Palace if he come in. What's his name again? It's going to be Eze. What?
Glasner.
Yeah, Glasner. So he's got a brilliant record and reputation in Germany. The only interesting thing that I remember from when he was at both Wolfsburg and Frankfurt is he left in a bit of a cloud of controversy from just kicking off with the owners. He wants more support, and Steve Parish has not had a great record since he's been Palace chairman of supporting the manager with funds. So I think, reading in between the lines, they've probably convinced them to come by saying, look, we've got Elise and we've got Eze who we could comfortably sell for 60 million each. There's your transfer kitty. You just need to get us to the end of the season and keep us in the league, and then you'll have that to spend in the summer plus a little bit more. But it's bad news for us. Bad news for us at Edmundsey without a doubt, because even if he doesn't, which he's probably unlikely to have more than one training session with them, it's just the sheer energy that a new coach brings.
I mean, he hasn't been sacked yet, Roy. I mean, we'll have to say that.
But I'm pretty sure
the podcast drops in half an hour later.
By the time the people are watching this, I'm fairly certain that Roy Hodgson won't be Palace's manager.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
You think news is going to drop in the next 12 hours?
Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay. You played him 8 o'clock Monday night. I mean, that is
Well, the interesting thing about that, again, is I've no idea why, given the hearing finished a week ago now, why we still haven't heard the outcome of the hearing.
Well, Jamie Carragher tweeted about this, didn't he?
Jamie Carragher was basically saying, why have we not heard? And the strong rumour is that they don't want to do it because it'll be such a spectacle on Monday Night Football. Of like that again, all eyes are on.
There might not be a home game at Goodison for a couple of weeks, maybe.
And there's a chance for it. They think to blow over, but all that'll happen. It'll just ramp up, and it'll be But Monday Night Football being probably the most viewed show.
I reckon you're going to get about 6 points back. You know,
we won't get 6 points back.
I think you will.
We won't get 6 points back.
What do you think you'll get on result-wise on the pitch? Tough game, even though Palace aren't playing great. Surely you've got to get 3 points, would you say, from your point of view?
Oh, we've got to, yeah. From our point of view, it's a must-win game. I think the new manager factor is huge. We've not been good at home. You've seen that, haven't you, first time when Dice coming against Arsenal? Yeah. We've not been good at home at all, and that's a big worry. We've not found a way of playing at home that's been anything like what we've done away from home, but we played Palace 3 times this season. We've only conceded 1 goal in those 3 games, and we've beat them in 2 of the 3 games. So, again, you would like to think that it suits us, but who knows what the new manager's going to bring. I said 2-1 before Hodgson was sacked. You could say maybe it probably leans more to a 2-2. I think we need to win the game, though. There's no two ways about it.
On to Liverpool, mate. Some bad news for Trent. He picked up an injury. It's the same injury he's had before. Looks like he's going to be out for the car.
What is the injury? I didn't see that. It was a calf, knee.
His knee was, wasn't it?
Do you know what?
Szoboszlai out of cup final as well. Oh. Wow. And so he's out for that. I mean, we'll cover that a bit more next week. But Chelsea is such a hit and miss team, aren't they? You just don't know what you're going to get.
Sorry, just before we go past Trent, though, and again, this might seem controversial and a little bit like out of nowhere, but does he not seem to have picked up a lot more injuries recently than the past? Has he always been? He seemed to me, certainly when he was younger. Listen, I've got a bit of a theory. I think he's a bit too big. I think he's put on a little bit too much weight. I don't know. He still looks big to me. I don't know. It just. He was running heavy last season, I thought. Yeah, I don't think he looks much better this year. Whether it's a thing of him, Klopp or the club trying to make him into a midfielder and knowing that you've got to be a bit more solid in there. But I just know from not being a professional footballer, but certainly from training, if I do a lot of time in the gym and go a little bit bigger, I start running and my knees give me all kinds of grief. You know, when I'm doing more
Interesting one,
cardio.
yeah. Never even thought of it, to be honest.
I just think on a basic sports science level, I think the weight and the muscle mass is a bit of a factor for him with his knees.
Maybe so. I'll get onto his dietitian and ask. Yeah, so he's going to be out there final. That was news this week. On to pressing matters this weekend, though. Another 12:30 kickoff for Jurgen's men. Lad, are you messing? I think that's 7, I think, isn't there? It's something crazy.
We'll borrow you our corrupt Premier League cards and you can hold them up.
So you've got the 12:30, and it's also come out this week that out of all the VAR decisions, Liverpool have been at fault for 20% of them. As in,
what do you mean at fault?
Sorry, VAR has been at fault. In all the VAR mess ups and fuck ups,
Liverpool have been involved in 20%
of them.
Corruption to Merseyside.
So how can
Thatcher's back from the dead running the Premier League?
Oh, you went there. Why? I mean, listen.
Oh no, I'm talking about Merseyside.
I know.
Scousers.
I know, but I don't want to be on your camp of like, the Premier League.
Yous were at it before us, by the way. Yous were moaned about the Premier League before we were.
In what sense?
About the early kickoffs.
Because that's a fact, though. That's a genuine fact. Liverpool have had more 12 than anyone else.
But it's a genuine fact that we're the only club that have been punished.
You haven't.
No other club's been punished.
Hang on,
and yet the other clubs have broke the rules. Why is that?
City are under him. City are.
They haven't been punished.
But they haven't been punished yet. They
haven't been punished.
And Forest will get punished as well. So
they haven't been punished yet.
Yeah, but you're not the only one, are you?
We are now.
But you're about.
We are.
Forest are about to get their punishments any day.
When's that?
Any day.
When?
Any day.
When? Nobody said when.
At this moment in time, I'm spitting facts that Liverpool felt hard done by because of the AFCON kickoffs.
Hard done by, yeah.
Because it's a genuine thing that we've had like twice as many as anyone else.
Okay.
Whereas Everton's moaning is because yous have fucked up and broke the rules, and you're just moaning about how they're interpreting the rules essentially.
Yous are moaning about the income that you get from TV, yet you don't want to be on TV. Okay, sound.
Oh, you are so bad, honestly. Anyway, so I've had me little just touched on the half 12s and the 20% going against us. Onto the pitch though. Listen, you'd like to think it'd be 3 points.
Yeah, I mean,
away and half 12.
Neil Morpay score again at half 12.
Imagine that. No, I think. Listen, these half 12 kickoffs are hard. Joking aside, they're hard to get up for.
Yeah.
You know, I've been there, and you're like, maybe you've been out the Friday night or something. You're like, can't really be bothered. But
hopefully the players haven't been.
Hopefully the players haven't. But yeah, I mean, I'm not overly ecstatic and excited, thinking we're going to definitely get. I mean, we should, but I mean, yeah, I think it'd be a tough game.
I think it is a tough play. You know, Ivan Toney is a big factor, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And there's no coincidence the upturn in form since he's come back.
Since he's left Everton.
Ivan Toney didn't play for Everton.
I thought he's more play.
Neil Morpay, yeah, that's just proper Everton. That, but no, I think we now look like the exceptions, don't we, in terms of his career? He's done all right at Brighton, he's done all right at Brentford. Just stunk the gaff out at Everton. Yeah,
no, it'll be a tough game. Listen, I expect us to get 3 points though, and it's at that time of the season now where, listen, we need to be getting 3 points off everyone. I've looked at the fixtures. If I'm right, I think Liverpool 4 big games. You say we've got to play City, Spurs, United and Everton. They're Liverpool's 4 big games. I think it's probably the easiest out of City and Arsenal. I think City have got to play Chelsea, Arsenal, United. Might be, when I looked, there was 1 or 2 more games that Arsenal and City had to play than Liverpool. So I think, listen, it's imperative Liverpool get 3 points the weekend. Given the fact as well, the R5 kickoff is City and Chelsea.
Are you using the Europa League next week?
We got a bye, didn't we? Because we come top. So the Europa League kickoff.
I was wondering why there was loads of teams who weren't playing in that one.
I mean, listen, I'm on about the half 12. It's not affected us because we've not had a game this week, so it's not really had an input on us. But still another little point scoring over you. So yeah, it's Man City, Chelsea's the half 5 kickoff. Absolutely massive, and listen, it breaks my heart. It's the hope that kills you, innit? Because City they either go 1-0 down, or they don't break a team down to like the 60 odd minute like they did with you, and you start getting a bit of hope. You know, they go 1-0 down, or you know, they didn't break you down out however many chances and didn't put any in them
they
away.
Didn't though, really. I was talking about this now.
They had about 10 off target
Yeah, they weren't chances. The
No,
Pickford didn't
but-
have to make a save
Yeah, but
until
a lot of possession and then having a lot of shots.
There wasn't honestly, mate. The XG was quite low as well. I was comparing it to we went there last season and got a draw under Lampard, and we rode our luck massively that day. They could have scored like 5. I wasn't really watching that game on the edge of my seat.
Well, I was on the way to the game and watched the last bit of the match.
Well, the last bit once they broke through, and just before they broke through, you can maybe
But
see.
I'm sitting there on my way to Anfield, hoping to get 3 points, and we're sitting there watching Everton, and it's getting 60 minutes, 65, and you're like, oh my god, they're gonna hold out for a draw, and then De Bruyne comes on, and then what?
The goal weren't really. It was a bit of a mad goal, weren't it? Just deflected.
And that's the
area,
frustrating
like,
thing, you know.
bang.
They just got that thing where it's later on in the season that they always kick on, and it's late on in matches sometimes, and they just blow teams away. And I think it's going to be a massive game.
I think they'll
Chelsea
batter Chelsea at the weekend.
But
I
again,
honestly do.
yeah,
I think it'd be similar to you. I think Chelsea in a position now where they've kind of got the likes of Enzo's playing well, and obviously Cole Palmer's playing well, but they're playing well against the middle of the table sides. Like they did at Palace the other night, and I thought they looked a class above Palace. But they come up against the likes of Hughes.
listen, they beat Villa.
I know, but I think Villa just overperformed this season. I don't think they're really at that level. I think Unai Emery's caught a few people short with his, or he's caught them, unaware with his tactics, maybe a little bit different. Plays on the counter quite a lot. I just think Chelsea went there and went, we're better than yous. They've got better players. I think.
Listen, if they turn up and play like they did against Wolves, they're going to get smoked by 7-0. I'm hoping it's a bit more of the Villa performance. I'm hoping Cole Palmer's got a point to prove.
Oh yeah, that'll be a factor. I'd be shocked if Cole Palmer didn't score, but I just think it'll be enough to
I think,
keep them out.
I honestly think, I'll stick my neck on the line. I think it might be a draw.
No.
I think a spanner is potentially on the horizon for City's title charge.
How frustrating would that be if they drew and used a drew on the...
We didn't beat Brentford, I know. Yeah, no, I'm going to go for a 2-0 win for Liverpool. I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw for the Man City Chelsea. Cole Palmer to get a late equaliser.
4-2 to Chelsea. I think
Chelsea?
Chelsea to City. 4-2 to Chelsea.
We shall see. We shall see. So out the Premier League and just across the rest of the world, you've got a guy who's linked to Liverpool quite a bit, Xabi Alonso. He is by Leverkusen side, absolutely battered Bayern Munich 3-0. And, a real performance.
It's not even an overstatement. They
battered them. I've watched the highlights. Brilliant. Listen, what a statement that is. What a statement it is. And again, it just makes that talk of Alonso potentially come to Liverpool, go even further. Because I think if he doesn't win that league and he takes at least Bayern close, it's great, fair play to him and all that, but it's like, well, he's not really done it, and Bayern still won the league, no matter how well he played. If he actually does win that league, I think that's massive. I think Bayern have won that league the last 12 years on the spin.
Yeah.
It'd be like, it'd be like Gerrard if he'd went up to Scotland, if he'd managed Hearts, and Hearts won the league. It'd be something along those lines, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it is massive if he can do it. And listen, it looks like it's gone from strength to strength, the case of him being the next Liverpool manager.
I don't know if... I don't know. I'm actually...
He's making a good case for it.
He's making a good case. I don't think he has to make a case anymore. I think he's the outstanding candidate. I think the more it drags on, the more people almost suggest him, well, I'm not saying what's this again. Obviously, Liverpool are a bigger club than Leverkusen. As I imagine there's Hart is saying, I go to the Liverpool job. But from what I've heard, again, recently, there was a few jobs he turned down while he was at Sociedad that were bigger jobs in Germany. And he's like, no, that's not right for me. It's not the right project. The director of football said at Leverkusen, no, we believe, based on what he said to us, he's excited by this team. He wants to finish this project. I don't know.
Do you know the one rumour I heard, and when I heard it, I thought, not a chance, but then I thought, actually, you know what, that makes sense. So you heard the rumours that he could potentially go to... He's got a clause in his contract, apparently, where he could go to Liverpool, Bayern Munich or Real Madrid, which all makes sense because it's the clubs he's played at. But then someone said... The other job that he'd potentially be interested in is waiting for Pep to leave City, which would be about 18 months, because he's obviously mates with Pep, and take over from him. Now, it would fall into the whole...
It'd be devastating, wouldn't it?
It'd fall into the whole... He's had a couple of years at Leverkusen, so he's not just been a one-hit wonder. He's had 2 years there. He's proven his worth. Pep leaves City, and he goes into that. That would be a bigger kick in the teeth.
Oh, yeah, without doubt.
Either way, it's meant that Bayern are further behind in the league, and Kane might go this season without winning nothing.
He lost to Lazio in the first leg of the Champions, which was awful, poor team, Lazio. And yeah, I mean, he's got to go, hasn't he? He's got to go. Tuchel, I think now. I don't think there's anywhere for him to.
Well, I was seeing Thomas Muller come out and kind of defend the manager, say, look, we had good tactics and this and that, we just didn't put our chances away. So I don't know whether he's quite lost the dressing room yet, but listen, if he doesn't pick things up quick, you know, yeah, you'd imagine so. And Kane, yeah, could be frustrated again, which would be mad. Did you see the top goal scorer award you get if you're the top goal scorer in Germany? It's basically like a cannon, like, you know, the Arsenal.
Oh yeah,
badge.
I've seen it. Yeah.
Well, that'd be hilarious if he wins that. And yeah, the Champions League, you'd expected Man City to roll over Copenhagen. They did 3-1. Real Madrid come through, as you'd imagine, without Jude Bellingham. I think it was, no big shocks, was there? Champions League just
No.
and the last two stories, I just thought, just a quick note on it. It's good to see the Scottish Premier being a bit more level. They're both on level points at the moment. Rangers playing last night, and you know, some of the comments where we would have went top if we'd scored one more on goal difference. So it is that close, level on points, and there's only one goal in it so far on goal difference. And listen, just as a fan of football, you want to see that Rangers Celtic going head to head, don't you? Both, you know, both with potential
going
to
into
win
the
the
last
league.
Old Firm game, which I think is three games to go with them level, would be brilliant.
Yeah.
Just from an entertainment value and on the SPL as well, Neil Warnock in charge. Did you see what happened last night?
No.
They were 3-0 down after half an hour, and he made 2 changes, and they were 3-2 at half time, drew 3-3 in the end.
Really, yeah.
He was coming out with all kinds after the game.
He's got some great one-liners, hasn't he, and stuff. Yeah, he described VAR like the post office scandal.
Yeah.
And the last one, a bit of a nicer note to end on. Although the AFCON can bring its fair share of comedy, it was a brilliant story for Ivory Coast to win, and Haller to get the winning goal. He was diagnosed with testicular cancer. He's obviously come through that and scored the winning goal for your country, which I think not a bad way to come back, is it?
No, amazing. Absolutely terrible tournament though. So I can't say anything good about it.
That's what I thought. I'll leave that to last.
Standard of football was horrendous.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrendous. And
it's over now, anyway, for another 4 years.
I'm so glad it's over.
Well, 2 years or 4 years, isn't it? Yeah.
4 years. Terrible competition that is.
Well, listen, Haller's won.
Oh no, yeah, and
he's won cancer and he's won the AFCON, so fair play to him.
Yeah, hats off.
Right, I think that's us. That's 1 hour 7. If you lasted that long with us, hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget, get down the workshop Thursdays, 2 prime cuts, 3 sides and a bottle of wine, 50 quid. That's what me and Gary will be doing next week. You got small plates, 3 for 16 quid. Get down here, best roast in Liverpool in my opinion. Come and check it out. Hope you've enjoyed the podcast. If you do want to support us on Patreon, get involved now. It's £4 a month, or £5 a month I think it is, sorry. And you get mine and Gary's tips every week.
We'll be back with a bang this week.
I was unlucky. My team was all getting beat at half time. They all come back nearly.
Mine were like 2 win and 1 draw, and then ends up even in the end, didn't we, in terms of both?
So we're going to come back with a bang, get involved, enjoy your tips, and thanks.
One thing I'll do for next week, I will do for next week, because I feel like I'm mentioning it and it's always past. On Wednesday, in 2 weeks' time, actually, before the Premier League, I'll put some like tips for the Wednesday in terms of matches to look out for in play in the Premier League, the darts.
Do it. Nice one, everyone. I'm see you next week.